Welcome, everybody. This is Pick 'em with Broad Film Study. For this segment, this would be for the Thursday night game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, for those of you who are not familiar, I do Pick 'em with Rod, which is, I just give my picks for whether it's basketball or football games. Usually, I've been doing the basketball because it's a little bit easier to keep up with, the players and stats or whatever. But my first love is football, so I usually try to do football. So, what this is, I will be showing you my thought process into how I put my picks together. I put my picks together for football and basketball through, watching games. I usually will do the last three games a team played. I will study how they line up on defense, um, offensive formations, know that they're key players on offense, check back and forth to see who's hurt or not available, things like that. And, pay attention to certain nuances that they do and see any patterns that they do to help me figure out what would be the best props to use. So with this, I just watched two Falcon games. This Jets game was from 10 days ago, so that was the second game I watched is the second to most recent game. So now I would be going to the last game that they played, and what I used to do this is I go to ESPN and I'll click on the Falcons, right? Of course, it's going to act funny while I have it on there. So I look at the dates. Make sure you look at the dates because sometimes they put it in a different order. So we see the Jets was from November 30th. Today is December 11th. So the last game that they played was on the 7th against the Seahawks. So that's what we're going to put in. I go to YouTube. You see, it was a blowout loss. But without that, but we're going to take that into account later after we watch film. We're going to put in Falcons and Seahawks. We're not worried about the fight. Make sure we type this in, right? Falcons and Seahawks. So we see it was 3 days ago. So now we're going to study the film.
But it bounced back very.
And off top, when you are doing your film study, you need to know the key players. So since I watch football, I know the Seahawks key players are Jackson Smith-Njigba, which is number 11. He's a wide receiver for the Seahawks. I noticed he's the main target. He scores a lot of touchdowns. They like to pass the ball with Sam Darnold. So they definitely are a pass-first offense. When they get in the red zone, I do know that they like to give it to their big back, Charbonnet, which is number 26. What else? That's the majority of the time when they do run the ball, they do run it with number 9. Can't think of his name right now. So, flip side, the Falcons offense mainly ran through B. John Robinson, number 7. They run it back. They run the ball with him a lot, and they also throw it to him a lot. So he's the first priority. The quarterback is Kirk Cousins. What else? Oh, their main receiver was Drake London. He's been hurt. I don't think he's cleared to play for a while, but we can actually go and check on that. So let's do. Let's see if they have him. I use Underdog. They do a good job of telling me if somebody is available or not. Drake London. So more times than not, he's not available. So with that being said, the second options receiving wise would be, let's say, Darnell Mooney. He played for the Bears a couple years ago. Number one, and then after him would be the tight end, Kyle Pitts. So we keep an eye on all those as we, watching everything.
Very promising as they head down the final stretch of this season.
3rd down and 12. Darnold under pressure. Darnold is sacked at the 1. James Pierce, 5th straight game with a sack.
Okay. That's another point I was going to make as well. Through me watching sports so much in football, I've heard that rookie, James Pierce, he's from Tennessee. He's been getting a lot of sacks. And like they said, that's his 5th sack in a row. So that would be a key thing to know if they're going against a pass-heavy team, which they are going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there is a chance to watch for him to get a sack playing Baker Mayfield because he does. They do pass it a lot, and he does like to scramble around. So that would be a player to watch for a prop. James Pierce on a sack.
In for the first time for Seattle in the middle of that defensive line. And on 1st down, off play action, Cousins looking over the middle, finds Pitts, and Kyle Pitts inside the 20 and down to the 19-yard.
First completion is to one of the key targets that I spoke of, Kyle Pitts, the tight end.
See if Kirk Cousins can solve it or if Seattle's defense keeps the trend going. Cousins on 3rd and 3 to the sideline, in and out of the hands of David Sills. Good coverage from Josh Jobe, who helped knock that loose.
So with Drake London being out, the top wide receiver, through watching the other 2 games, I've seen that Sills, the number 87, he's been a starting wide receiver. Darnell Mooney, and I think there's another 3rd receiver in there. He probably was a practice squad player that got bumped up. So it's good to look at some of their formations and see who's being used often.
Good snap, good hold, good kick. Atlanta on the board with 3. So funny, he goes, I don't know that guy. Who's this guy? Watching him this week. Darnold to the sideline. That's Jackson Smith-Njigba. Finds enough space to get the 1st down.
So one of the first completions that we've seen Sam Darnold make was to another key player that I said, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
1st and 5 at the 42-yard line after the penalty. Zach Charbonnet picks his way up the middle. Good run for Charbonnet into the secondary. Charbonnet tripped up as he gets to the 32-yard line by A.J. Terrell. They'll mark him at the 31. 2nd and goal. Walker finds some space. Walker weaving inside the 5, and he's down at the 4. 3rd down and goal. 11th play of this drive. Darnold with time, looking for the end zone. Jackson Smith-Njigba out of bounds, incomplete. So 22.
Okay. Key points to watching film is knowing what a team likes to do in the red zone. So from what, you can't really see it through the highlights sometimes. That's why another thing that helps is actually watching games. So what I'm assuming, since it was a 3rd and goal when they did that, it looks like from the 5, there's a chance they probably ran the ball a couple times and didn't get anywhere, so they tried to throw it. And once again, a target was Jackson Smith-Njigba. So, little things like that you got to pay attention to.
Yard field goal try for Jason Myers, and the NFC Special Teams Player of the Month in November bangs home 3 for Seattle. Get movement, took the delay of game. 4th and 1 this time. The hand to Algier, a nice little cut to the left, and he's got the 1st down. Ball came out at the end of the play, but the officials are saying it's down.
Another point is to know teams' personnel and what they do in certain situations. So usually with the Falcons, even though Bijan Robinson gets the majority of the carries and receiving on fourth downs, fourth and shorts, and goal line situations, and periodically throughout the game, they like to get the ball to number 25, their running back, Algier. So when they're going against a certain team, know how good their defense is and about how many third and shorts or, goal line situations they'll be in to dictate how many yards he may have or touchdowns or carries.
3rd down and 10. 4-man rush. Cousins short to Pitts, and Pitts, good open field tackle. Outstanding play by Devin Witherspoon. 3rd and a yard. Play action. Darnold on the roll, looking downfield, deflected, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Mike Hughes off the deflection and down at the 30 of Seattle. 3rd and 12. Cousins. The screen pass is deflected and it's incomplete. Boy,
So on back-to-back highlights, we've seen the tight end Kyle Pitts be a target. So look for props for him to be a heavy target.
Mafe from 50. His lone miss this year came from 50 last week. And it's blocked! Another special teams play. Nicky Manwari. But limiting the damage done by one of the most talented in the game. Darnold to the sideline for Shaheed with Hughes in coverage. It's incomplete. With a name like Kobe Bryant, you can't avoid watching basketball. Worst start of the day for Atlanta. Bijan Robinson trying to help out that field position, and he's out to the 20. 2nd and 6. Pressure comes. They set up the screen. This is Algier with blockers in front. Algier with a 1st down out across the 45 and a flag in at the end of the play. Pick up a 15 if it holds. 2nd and 4 here for the Falcons. And it's Algier with a hole, and Algier with a 1st down out to the 42-yard line. Picks up 9 on that.
Okay, so we see him getting more carries outside the situations that I just touched on. So periodically throughout the game, what I like to do through watching the highlights is to check the stats through the game as well, just to see if whatever you are seeing shows in the box scores. So let's start with the Falcons. So we see 30 attempts from Kirk Cousins, 162 yards. It's not a lot, the yards per completion. Algier, he got 11 carries, 34 yards. Bijan Robinson, he had 20 carries. So whenever we're not seeing Algier with the ball, Bijan Robinson definitely is getting the ball. Kyle Pitts, he has 6 catches, 90 yards, 10 targets. 10 targets, that is a lot of targets. Definitely a lot of targets. Especially out of 30 attempts. That is a lot. That's almost 33% of the targets. Well, let's say, okay, 2nd place in targets is some wide receiver Drummond. And like I said, I think he's the slot receiver that probably got bumped up from the practice squad. So they looking at him a lot. Bijan Robinson, this is surprising. He only had 2 targets. Darnell Mooney, which is probably one of the sole remainder of the original starting wide receivers. He only had 4 targets, 1 catch. So it was safe to say as of right now, Kyle Pitts is the number 1 target, and you could probably do over on targets maybe, and over on yards receiving. And Bijan Robinson over on carries. So that's good. That's a good little notes.
run to move the chains. Second and 12. Cousins looking for Pitts, and he drops it in. What a catch! 11 years with Dallas, his first year in Seattle. Cousins airs it down the sideline, looking for Darnell Mooney, and he finds him for the touchdown.
You can't be the first person to touch the ball coming off the sideline out of bounds.
43.
Okay, so this is why it's important to pay extra attention to the highlights, because they don't show you everything. They just show you big plays. And with that being shown, it's not just big plays that count. It could be big plays that don't count. So that wide receiver Mooney, he caught a touchdown, but since they're attempting the field goals, that means that the touchdown didn't count. So you have to pay attention to little things like that.
Our try from Zane Gonzalez is good. And Darnold, pressure comes, able to get free. Darnold now will tuck it and run, and Sam Darnold out near midfield. Good scramble by Darnold.
Okay, another thing to note, I've been seeing number 26 in there a lot, and there hasn't been any short yardage and things like that. But me watching the Falcons play, I know that they have pretty good edge rushers, and they do blitz a lot. So usually they'll put in the bigger back to pass block. So you also got to watch that for teams that they're playing too. If they got a very good pass rush, the big back might be in there to, to pick up those blocks, and they might get a couple receptions if they leak out on third downs and stuff like that.
On first and 10, clean pocket for Darnold, zips it over the middle. There's Shaheed down at the 35-yard line. Good snap and hold. The kick by Myers sends us to the locker room in a tie game at 6 apiece.
And, it's their opportunity to come out here in the second half and start to eliminate the reasons why there's concern over this offense. But we're seeing a lot of the same things we've seen the last few weeks.
And here's Rashid Shaheed, big special teams play. Breaking free, and Shaheed all the way to the house, no flags.
It's another good note. Shaheed is a new acquisition, wide receiver, special kick return and things like that. The Seahawks are still trying to figure out how to use them in their system. So before halftime, we saw him get a target and a catch, and now you see him returning kicks. So with players like him, you can't be certain how their role would be each game. So you just have to look on what they've done the couple games before. And a key thing in doing player props is if you can, wait until the last minute to put in your picks, because if you're watching the pregame stuff and the sports analysts and commentators giving their assessments, sometimes they talk to the coaches and they give certain game plans that they'll have and certain game plans that they have for certain players. So just watch things like that. So what I would do in this case, I'm going to go look at his stats or whatever. I'll go to, say, like underdog, right? I'll go to underdog, and then I'll put in his name. Was it Shaheed? So it came up already. Click on him. Don't look at all this right now. So you go straight to the bottom. I would go from the probably like three or four games ago. Let's do from the Rams. The Rams, he had 5 targets, 2 catches, 27 yards. And to the right-hand side, those are rushing stats. He had 1 rush for 2 yards. The next game, 2 targets, no catches, no yards. 1 rushing attempt, 5 yards. Game after that, 3 targets, 1 catch, 7 yards. 1 rushing attempt, 9 yards. So we can already see a common theme now is they at least try to give him 1 rushing attempt a game. And it's averaging, let's say that's 16 divided by 3 is a little bit about 5 and some change for the average rush. So that might be a prop you can try to look at. Oh, but then again, the last game they played was against the Falcons. He didn't have any attempts. So it's not 100%, but it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 5 games, he's had 3, 4, 5 attempts. So he's almost 100% in him getting a rush a game. So let's see his average. Let's say per rush. Let's do rushing yards, see if he has any. And he doesn't have any. So that wouldn't be a good prop to use. Let's see if they do targets. He's been averaging, let's see. I want to say this is only his 3rd game with the Seahawks, so let's do from the Tennessee game. 2, 3, and 5 targets, 10 total targets for 3 games. He averaging about 3 targets a game. Let's see if they have targets on here. No, they don't. So let's also look at receiving yards. So out of probably 3 games with the Seahawks, he's only has 74 receiving yards total. Out of 3 games, that's going to average out to like 25. And this is where you can kind of take advantage of the system that these prop betting sites have. So they usually average the last 5 games, and they go off that for the over and under. So that's 25 average, right? So let's see. They have them at 28.5 for the average to go to over or under. I would say, and this would be taking a chance, I would say I would go under on this because as you can see, the last game versus the Falcons is the only reason why that spiked up because he has 67 yards. No other game has even been close to that. So it could be a safe bet to go under on his receiving yards. But with that being said, you also have to pay attention to what actually happened in the game. So remember, this was a blowout game. So was he getting more targets because other starting wide receivers was out? You got to take all that into account and don't put in any picks until you watch all the film that you've needed and could watch and get a little insight from the pregame and probably like the day of sports analysis and things like that. So just watch that. But as of right now, I would do under on the receiving yards on him.
100 yards later, the Seattle Seahawks have the lead. The first kick return for a touchdown in the career of Rashid Shaheed.
Now, most of these have come to the coverage side right. That came to coverage side left. Into the last opportunity to squeeze that game.
Or illegal contact.
All right, Allison, thanks so much. Kirk Cousins finds Pitts open over the middle of the field, down to the Seattle 40-yard line. 2nd and 7. Robinson again, looking for a space, somehow finds one, bounces to the outside.
And I have to do it. I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't show y'all this. It is very important to keep up with the injury updates. So what I usually do is I go to Google. And I put who was I looking to see who was hurt? is Drake London playing this week, right? So, and it's good to look at a few different sites and ones that are more trusted, ones that you recognize, USA Today, Yahoo Sports. Let's say if ESPN did one, Sports Illustrated, something like that. So this was 2 hours ago. Is Drake London playing? Let's do it 3 hours ago. That's Yahoo Sports. So it's Drake. Okay. Then we'll start or sit advice. Injury update originally appeared. Uncertainty. Wide receiver thanks to Drake London. Has been sidelined each of the past 3 games for knee injury. Did not practice all week. London is Falcons' number 1 wide receiver. Here's what we know about the status of 15 contests. Drake London playing tonight. London did not practice this week and was ruled out Wednesday. So his status is already confirmed Thursday night. So it is confirmed from a reliable site, Yahoo Sports, that he's not playing. So that is very key for. If it was saying uncertain, you definitely shouldn't put that pick in until right before the game, because it's going to be a toss-up until they know for sure, and you're not going to know for sure until right before the game. And that does affect other players' over and under number. So be very mindful of that.
Side, and he's got a first down. 3rd and 1. Robinson. Fumble! The ball's out and it's recovered by Devin Witherspoon of Seattle. Off the play fake. Darnold with time. Open. Jackson Smith and Jigba. They find him for a big gain out of bounds near the 26-yard line of Atlanta.
And once again, periodically you would like to check the stats to see if what you're seeing is being shown in the box score. So this dude, the Seahawks, looks like usually when he's dropping back to pass, he's looking for Smith and Jigba. So let's see what his stats look like. He had 10 targets. Like we said earlier about Kyle Pitts, that's a lot of targets. 7 catches, so which means he's catching the majority of them. 92 yards receiving. So I would take him. Well, let's compare. So Smith and Jigba. Here we go. So they have him. Let's look at his stats over the past few games. And another thing, when you're looking at stats from the past few games, always look at the box score and the final score for context. Some games, if you know that player has higher numbers, they might be lower if their team blew out the other one. So that means their usage is not going to be as high. So pay attention to that and don't let it deter you from what you basically know about the player playing a full game. So let's say Tennessee, 10 targets, 8 catches, 167 yards. Minnesota, 4 targets, 2 catches, 23 yards. That's odd. The Atlanta game, 10 targets, 7 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. So you look at the games to where he scored a touchdown. The furthest game back, he had a touchdown. Next game, none. Game after that, 2 touchdowns. Next game, none. Last game, 2 touchdowns. So this looks like a pattern, right? So would it be safe to say that he won't score a touchdown next game? If the Seahawks was playing tonight, I would go and look at their past games to see what was going on with that. So, but off the top of my head, I would do my targets would probably be higher if they have those. They don't have targets. Let's see, my receiving yards will probably be higher. Let's see those. So they got over or under 98.5. It looks like he's averaging about, I guess that is the average. So I would probably go over. And depending on who they playing, if they have a really good pass defense or maybe pass rush, especially pass rush, or if they have a good running game, that team could hold the ball more and give them less opportunities. So all that takes account. You can adjust this. If you know this is the line, if you think it might be close for whatever reason, you can also go in and adjust the over and under. So let's say he might have a game to where he's way under. I would do, let's say 79.5, right? That means he got to get 80 yards. But this is going to drop how much weight is behind if that pick goes through. So it's going to take from 71% multiplier from, it being, probably the average multiplier, which is around 1, I'm assuming. So just know that you get less money if you do that. But the thing is, a lot of people get caught up on how much money they can win. Besides, instead of getting the for sure picks, it don't matter how much money you can win if the pick is not likely to go through. So y'all got to keep in mind and keep your priorities in order. So that has been this installment of Pick 'em with Rod film study. There's more to come. Stay on the lookout. We'll be posting on YouTube, which is Roderick Warren 23. I also have a TikTok. I will have all the information stored in those. And you can also see on my Facebook and things like that. So y'all be on the lookout.